Hello, welcome to Yellow Door Urban Homestead. I am Asia and I'm an urban gardener growing on about 154 square feet of space in my backyard. Today we're going to start the video out. We're turning the compost pile. So I have kind of a two bin system, if you want to call it a bin. It is actually chicken wire that I put around some T-posts so that I can have two and I can flip it in order to aerate it and let it get some air. Also, if I need to water it, I can flip it, water, flip, water. Starting a compost pile in your backyard. I started out with totes. I was using just like the plastic totes, and I compost in plastic totes. And this is a pretty small area beside my house. As long as you have the right mixture of browns, so like leaves, straw, chicken bedding, I think is a brown. It's also mixed in with green because chicken manure is a green, but so those are browns. And as long as you have green, so like food scraps, yard waste, chicken manure, cow manure, and then you put enough water on it, you don't get much smell. I rarely smell this, and if I do smell it, then I know that I probably need to add some browns because that kind of soaks up the gas that comes from too much nitrogen. And I don't flip mine often, but I'll show you what it looks like right now. I used what was in there and it's not super hot, and I'm going to tell you how I know it's not super hot because I'm going to show you this. You see that worm right there? I think you can see it. Yes, he's trying to get away. If it was super hot, he wouldn't be in there. It was maybe close to, I think it was at 120 at a point. So I do use a thermometer, and it had gone down to 60. And so it's supposed to rain this evening. And I have quite a few table scraps that I need to put in here. So I figured I would just go ahead and turn the pile. What I use mostly in my compost pile is food scraps. I did end up putting all of my dirt from my bags in here. I'm not doing my soil from my bags last year in here. That compost is already out on the beds. This is new compost. Mostly started with leaves, honestly. What's in here now? Leaves and chicken bedding, manure, and table scraps. And then the yard waste once we started cutting the grass. So I don't do a lot to my compost pile. You see people who turn it every week or every so often. I don't do that because I don't have the time for it, and it still composts down. So if you want to start a compost pile, you don't have a lot of time. It may not compost as fast because it's not as hot, but it will compost. And I use coffee grinds. If you go to Starbucks, a lot of places they bag it up for you. A lot of Starbucks they bag it up for you. And then in some cases, they'll just put it in a plastic bag and they'll let you take it. It's a good way to heat the compost pile up. Coffee grinds are a green, so it's nitrogen. I also use paper towels in my compost pile. So some people have completely stopped using paper towels because it's not sustainable. Because of course you have to cut down trees to make paper towels, and you're literally wiping your hands with it or wiping something up, and you throw it in the trash. But keep it out of the landfills. I can compost. Also compost paper towel, the paper towel holders. I don't know if that's what it's called. The cardboard box piece inside the paper towel. Paper towel roll? You tell me, I don't remember. So since I'm turning it, I'm gonna add my food scraps in halfway through. I still have a good amount to turn to add into this side. So I'm gonna add my food scraps. These have been in here for a long time. It's gonna be pretty gross, I'm sure. They smell awful. Just keep a box in the house with a plastic bag in it. And then I just take the whole plastic bag out and bring it out here, and I throw it in here until I can get to the compost pile. All right, so I am finished turning that. I will show you. So everything that's in this one came out of this one. And of course, there's always going to be some left because the front of my bins are just as high as the sides. I just thought it would be a better idea for my space, so it wouldn't be running out towards the house. So that is how I turn my compost pile and how I make my compost pile. And it is a lot of work. So now I'm going to put my thermometer back in there. In the next few days, that should actually start warming back up. But also, I wish I would have showed you how it compresses as it sits in here. So this is like really high, almost to the top. But when I started turning it, it was like halfway down. So that happens too. That's where adding the air in helps with composting. We're starting the hardening off process today. We have a 39 and a 34 degree day in our forecast for next week. I think it is, well, tonight and then Monday night. So I am not going to plant out. I want to plant out so bad, but I'm really trying to watch the forecast because I don't want any mishaps. I've already started, but basically the hardening off process is putting your plants like literally out in your garden or out in a space that has shade for a good amount of the day. But you only leave them out for a certain amount of time and then you move it up. You gradually leave them out longer. So I'm gonna put them on my fence line. Today's not supposed to be that warm. We have a little bit of wind in the forecast. This is a good day to start hardening them off. They've been out in the greenhouse that gets full sun. So the sun shouldn't be a problem, but like the wind may be. So now all of the plants are outside on the fence line. Some of them are looking a little bit yellow, so I'm gonna hit them with some fish emulsions. At this point, because my seedlings are much older than they were, when we first fertilized together. When I told you to 2 gallons of water, I do 1/2 teaspoon of fertilizer. They're much older now. So I've started doing 2 half tablespoons to 2 gallons of water. And I'm just using my fish emulsion. If you are new here, it is the Alaska brand of fish emulsion. And it's about 7:30 in the morning. I would recommend getting them out as early as you can so that when the heat of the day starts, when you're first starting to harden them off, you can bring them in or put them in a more shaded area. So let's talk real quick about a garden sale. My winter sowing jugs did horribly this year, and I'm gonna say it's because they were not watered often. Last year I did magnificently, like way more plants than I needed. But this year, I guess I just didn't pay attention. I also used a different soil that may have been too heavy. Either way, it's okay. Next year is always a thing. But these were artichokes. And I did get 2 artichokes out here, which I planted out because I read that they needed a cold period. And then they may die back and then come back in the next cold period. I'm not sure. What do you know about growing artichokes? Let me know. Anyway, so basically, I'm just gonna dump these into the compost pile. Yes, it was a fail. Will I be able to start again next year? Try it again next year? Yes. Does it work? Absolutely. I just did something wrong this year. Don't take it too serious. Just have fun with your gardening. Unless you're literally growing for your family, and then make sure you do all your research. These were mostly flowers, so it's not a big deal. They weren't vegetables. Did I waste some money? Yes. Only on the dirt though. And seeds come so many to a packet. I still had enough to start some indoors. This is scabiosa that did germinate, but see, like There's this one that germinated, but because the soil wasn't moist enough, it didn't keep growing. But I probably could take that scabiosa and pot it up, which I probably will, because it has an amazing root system on it. I'm gonna keep that. There's some delphinium that also germinated. I'm gonna hold on to that, see if I can pot it up into its own little container and get it to grow. And there's a foxglove, I believe, yes. So I'm gonna hold on to that and pot it up. I'm gonna keep the plastic containers because, again, we will be doing this again next year. It does work. So now we are going to pot up a few things. Had some foxglove in the house that are finally growing. These grew really slow. Might have been me, I don't know. And my mom's peppers, because she didn't want the peppers that I had. She just wanted some green peppers, which I know I've harvested the peppers that I had in the early stages and still been able to use them as green peppers. But anyway, she wanted her own green peppers, and so I started some green peppers for her. So just to let you know, it's not too late to start your stuff. I'm in Zone 7B, so I'm going to speak for Zone 7B. I'm in Virginia. We have a really long growing season, so I think our growing season is like 210 days. I'm just going to pot these up. These are the 2 little scabiosas that I got out of my winter sowing jug, and I'll keep you updated on that. I'm pretty sure they're just gonna go ahead and take off. So that's what we're gonna do. I just got my nails done yesterday, so I will be using gloves. I only get my nails done once a month, so in the beginning I really try to take care of them, and then eventually I don't. The last thing I'm gonna do today is I have an area that the grass just does not want to stop in. I use straw in my walkways. So I already laid the cardboard and I only have the bricks on it to hold the cardboard in place. But I'm gonna take my straw and cover all of this cardboard so that during the growing season, I'm not fighting weeds in the walkways. You can use wood chips, you can use mulch, you can use rocks. I use straw because it's the easiest for me to get, and it's probably the cheapest, unless I'm gonna keep going to our local municipal dump and getting truckloads of wood chips. Wood chips may work better as far as year to year, but I don't have a problem with doing this in certain spots each year. So a large part of gardening is paying attention to your plants, paying attention to your soil, paying attention to growth, all that kind of stuff, the color of your plants. And what I noticed is in my greenhouse, the plants that's on the bottom don't get a lot of sun because they're shaded by what's on top. The other thing I noticed is that my greenhouse is pointing west. And so your sun comes from the south for most of the day. And it rises in the east. Learned that in school, right? Anyway, today, since I've moved all of the plants over to the fence line to start hardening off, I'm gonna turn my greenhouse so that all the shelves should get a decent amount of sun. I'll let you know how that worked out, but that's one thing I'm doing today. And it's a perfect time because there's no plants in there, and I can clean it out while I'm doing it. Well, it is Tuesday night and I was about to upload this video and I realized I did not record an ending, as I have been doing quite often. In the vlog style videos, I forget to record the ending because I don't know if I'm at the end. Anywho, we have temperatures that may be within 5 degrees of 32, and so I'm not willing to leave my plants outside. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share if you feel it. Don't forget to visit me on Instagram at Miss Asia Spratley, and I will see you Saturday.